Hey guys, it's your boy John Hayes. I'm back with another cooking video. Today's video is going to be hot and sour chicken, which is a specialty of my grandmother. In Chinese it's called suan la ji. So I just want to go ahead and apologize now because I'm going to have quite a few technical difficulties through the video, but you don't end up missing anything from the video. It just, adds to the blooper list and shows how imperfect I really am. But I hope you really enjoy the video. If you have any questions, just drop them down in the comment section below. But you shouldn't have any because the recipe itself is very simple. You just follow the steps and you'll end up with a really delicious and easy dish. As you guys can see, I'm using a different pan today. I'm using our trusty cast iron skillet. I think it does a better job with browning meat and it just stays hot longer. So I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of oil. This skillet is actually already ripping hot. I've had it on for a couple of minutes now, getting it hot. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get the silicone handle on so I don't burn my hand. There we go. Alright. Here I'm going to add just a little bit of the garlic that I cut. Now we're going in with the chicken. And what we're looking to do is really build some color on the chicken. It's a lot easier to build color on the chicken if you have skin on it. But as you know, I took off all the skin, so we're not going to be able to get as much color on it. But we don't want to cook it all the way through because we really want to add our seasoning things to really build that base. Now that all the chicken has a little bit of coating on it from the skillet, we're going to go ahead and add in the onion. My grandmother was a huge fan of yellow onion. She loved it. She put it in almost all of her dishes when she cooked. And she even liked eating it raw in every salad that she ever had. So that was one of her key ingredients, was yellow onion. And I just threw a bunch on the floor. we're going to let that yellow onion break down a little bit. If you guys can smell it, you can smell that the onion has already began to sweat out and has started to permeate the skillet. At this point, I'm going to add in a little bit more of the garlic. We're not going to put all the garlic in because we want to reserve some for the end, because as it cooks, it's going to lose some of that potency. So as you can see, I still have some garlic left for later. I'm going to mix that all in. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not, but the sizzling has gone down, and now because the chicken is starting to really release some of that moisture. At this point, now that all the chicken's starting to brown a little bit, I'm going to add in the dark soy, which is 2 tablespoons of dark soy sauce. And this is really going to help give all the chicken some color. Flavor wise, it's not unique. It doesn't have as much salty flavor as the light soy. It's just really dark, and it adds a lot of color, a lot of flavor that isn't salt. It just has a totally completely different flavor profile. And as you can see, it really gets into the meat and adds a really different depth of color. And what we're going to do is let that simmer for a couple of minutes and really cook that in. Alright, so now I'm going to add in my 2 pieces of ginger. Now, my grandmother made this with and without the ginger. It really depended on what kind of mood she was in. Sometimes she would feel like some ginger, sometimes she wouldn't. I know that I enjoy the additional depth of flavor that it gives the dish, which is why I put it in there. You can use it, you don't have to. If you're not a fan of ginger, don't use it. And I'm going to add in some of the peppers from my grandmother that she jarred, which I ended up re-pickling because it just wasn't correct, so I opened up the jars and re-pickled in fresh vinegar and in actual sanitized canning jars. And as you can see, there's about 8 of her cayenne chili peppers in there and about half a cup of the pickling liquid. And I would say that when it comes to the amount of pickling liquid, which is basically vinegar, it's going to end up being based on your preferences, okay? Use half a cup as a starting point, and you can add more if you want to, or take away on a later time that's cooking it, but a good starting point would be half a cup. And based on the way it smells right now, I like mine to have a little bit more hardness to it because I like the sour. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the vinegar. Alright, sorry guys. My camera died. My iPhone just wilded out. Siri decided to come on the screen and try to tell me what was really good. So I went ahead and added in probably another quarter cup of the vinegar mixture. And as you can see, there's a fair amount of liquid in there now. We're gonna basically turn this down to I would call it a medium simmer, and we're gonna braise this chicken. So if you don't have a clear lid, that's not a big deal. You can use whatever lid you have available. I just turned my skillet down to about medium-low. It was on high just so we could really try to brown that chicken. So I still have left the 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce, and I still have some of the garlic left. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to add in the light soy sauce, and I'm going to taste the broth, because you may not have enough sodium in there. You might need add a little bit of salt, because that dark soy sauce really doesn't add that much salty flavor. It just adds a deeper flavor. You know, that key word of umami. That's what it really adds to it. But instead of making you sit here and watch this pot boil away for 10 minutes, I'll be back. Alright guys, it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off, add my light soy sauce, mix this in really well. You know, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but the light soy is a lot more fluid, liquidy than the dark soy. The dark soy is real thick. We're gonna just mix that all in. We're gonna let that come back to a boil, and then I'm gonna taste the broth to make sure it has plenty of seasoning. Now, one drawback of using boneless, skinless chicken is you don't get that nice collagen from the skin to thicken, to act as a natural thickener for the sauce. So the sauce itself is going to be a little bit thinner than what my grandmother would have made. So if you want a thicker, more naturally thickened sauce, go ahead and use the skin on the chicken. Put the skin side in first so that you really get a nice crisp on it, so that as it braises, it doesn't become like a chewy mess. You know, you want to be able to bite through it. You don't want to have to gnaw on it to get through it. So to keep that from happening, you just put the skin side in first, get that nice and crisp, and then when you add in all the braising liquids, it will be nice and tender, and you can just bite right through it. Alright, And that is boiling in the center again, so I'll go ahead and taste it. Whew. It's got a sharp kick from those cayennes that we put in there. It's not tremendously salty, but I'm not going to add any more salt right now. I'm going to go ahead and let it finish cooking. So in about 10 more minutes, I'm going to come back. I'm going to add the garlic in, and then we'll let it simmer on really low heat for about 5 minutes, and it'll be done. If you're using bone-in chicken, you need to cook it longer because your bone is going to take longer to cook. So if you're using chicken wings, or you're using chicken thighs or drumsticks that you've cut down or broken down, it needs to cook a little bit longer to make sure that the meat closest to the bone is fully cooked. So this is only going to take probably a total of 25-30 minutes to cook the boneless, skinless, and I cut the pieces with the bone on it so small that they'll cook really quickly. But if you're using the bone-in like thighs or the wings, like I said, that's probably going to need to cook probably closer to 40 minutes to make sure that it's fully cooked, to make sure that the collagen has released from the skin and all that good stuff. But I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Alright guys, it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and remove the lid and add in that garlic that I was talking about. Man, I wish you guys could smell this. If only YouTube had smell-o-vision, you guys would be drooling right now. Alright, so I'm going to add in the rest of that garlic. And we're going to turn this down to low for the last 5 minutes. And really let this garlic sink in and let the flavor permeate the sauce, because we've added so much and had so much heat on the original garlic. We've probably lost that garlic flavor. So adding in this amount of garlic at the very end of cooking really allows the dish to regain that garlic flavor. And we're just going to let this simmer for another 5 minutes on low, and it'll be done. Let's get a close-up real quick so you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. It looks amazing, guys. Hey guys, it's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off. I just turned the heat off on this, and we are completely done. As you can see, that chicken has some beautiful color to it, and there is tons and tons of sauce. I'm going to go ahead and plate some up for myself because it's about lunchtime here. And as you can see, I've got a plate already started. I've got some steamed broccoli, and I have about half a cup of brown rice. So I'm going to go ahead and put on somewhere around 4 ounces of chicken here. And we don't want to miss out on some of that delicious sauce, so we're going to go ahead and drizzle that on our brown rice. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of brown rice because with the Chinese background, it just doesn't quite hold a sauce as well as the white rice does. But, you know, you do what you have to do for health goals, you know what I'm saying? Alright guys, as you can see, the hot and sour chicken recipe, really easy, nothing really ridiculously hard about it. It's quick, it's delicious. I mean, there's not a whole lot of things that I can think of that would be as fast, as simple. I mean, you pretty much saute some chicken, then you add in some vinegar and soy sauce and let it simmer, and you stir it a couple times to make sure it's not sticking, and you got dinner. So I just want to say thank you. If you really like this video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you want to, you can join my Facebook group. It's John Haze, JOHNHAZE, no space. And you know, I'll ask questions regarding what kind of videos you want to see next. I'll be doing some more healthy dishes in the future, but I'll also be adding in more of my grandmother's recipes. So let me know if you like this. Until next time, we're out. Peace.